All right, welcome to the Pinnacle Bank Championship Podcast. I'm Chris Gorman from Herdat, and I'm joined by Brett Renner, the digital director at the PGA chapter here in Nebraska. Brett, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun. Okay, 10 years. Like, we've been doing this for a long time. Talk to me about just like the evolution of the Pinnacle Bank Championship from your perspective, because you see it from a little bit different angle than a lot of us. From the PGA side for the chapter here in Nebraska, talk to me about the evolution that you've seen.
I would say just for the tournament itself, I think they have a great demographic here that loves golf. I think, golf is so big here, and I think people starve to see that professional side of it. I have so many friends that have gotten to go out to, even if they're beginners or if they've been playing in the game, it's pretty fun to watch those pros and their craft and just how good they are. But then on our side, our foundation, PGA REACH Nebraska, has been a charity partner with Pinnacle Bank for the last few years, and it's been fun for me to see Jessica and their team really dive into our community and finding ways to give back. And we've been a part of that with their youth clinic and PGA Junior League, playing on the course right next to where the actual championship's happening. So I think it's just been awesome to see them really devote and dedicate so much time and money and effort towards making an positive impact on the game.
So, I mean, you're an avid golfer. When did you first fall in love with golf?
So it's funny. I'm a big golf guy now. Obviously, I've been with the section for almost 7 years, but I grew up a baseball player, and that baseball is so time consuming, especially during the summer months when everyone's playing golf. I played here and there growing up. My grandpa was in the Air Force. He played a lot of golf, still does. So I think that's kind of where I got my love for the game, was on the course with grandpa. And then when I went to the university, I had a vision to be a play-by-play guy. I was a broadcasting major, never really thought about golf at all. And then I just took an internship and, kind of taught myself everything to do with the camera. And that's where it really started to grow. I was working for the section for sure. Still not very good, but we've been working on that part for the last 10 years. It feels like it's just a hard game, but I think that's what it is. It's just you and the golf ball out there, and it's a game you can play for the rest of your life. Unlike football, basketball, baseball, there's time comes when you got to kind of hang it up in those sports. And golf is just such a family-oriented thing that I've really come to love.
Yeah. It's funny. It's one of those games you can play for a lifetime and still feel terrible at it. Jim Nedrow was in here yesterday, and we were talking about just some of the players that have come through the Pinnacle Bank Championship. We obviously have our champions, but we also have Scottie Scheffler played here a couple times. I know we got cut on a Friday. These are your stars of tomorrow that are going to go to the PGA Tour and win championships. Who are a couple of your favorite golfers that have come through Omaha?
Yeah, I think you've already said one of them was Scottie. It goes back to, I think it was 2020 that something the section does for the Pinnacle Bank is we host a Monday qualifier, I guess I should say, for the Korn Ferry Tour. So essentially, they get their field of 152 players, but there's usually 8 spots that they keep for these qualifiers that anyone can sign up for, Joe Schmo all the way to Scottie Scheffler. And 2 of those guys that we saw come through and qualify through the Bentry qualifier, Scottie was at Wilderness. Cam Young, who obviously is having a tremendous season this year. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 names that stick out to me, but there's been so many. I think, where the Pinnacle Bank falls in the schedule, it's an event that all the top players are, it's right before they get their cards. It's their last chance to get those points that they need. So it's always a really, really strong field. And I think that's what, a lot of people are starting to realize, is that you can go out to Indian Creek and, just like you said, see the stars of tomorrow. So yeah, I think Cam Young, Scottie have been 2 big names that came through right here in Omaha. And I think the rest is history. Those are household names now.
100%. I always joke, if you were in the pro-am with Scottie that week and watched him play the rest of the week, you'd be like, this guy is terrible. Because sometimes your guys blow up. Yeah. Sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. And it's always kind of that opportunity to be able to see these guys up close, especially here in Omaha. There's a lot of new fans. It seems like we're adding new fans. You have your golf fans, then you have your casual fans, and you have people that are coming out for the first time. Explain why Omaha is so important. Talk about the points. Talk about why the players are really excited to come to Omaha. Talk about why it's important in the tournament schedule.
Yeah, it's right before they start their playoff season, and it's pretty much their last chance to qualify for playoffs. It's when the most points are up for grabs at that point in the year. And I think for the players, you hear them talk about it year in and year out, just how good the club at Indian Creek is. And obviously, they just did a little bit of renovation. Went to that next level. It's a tremendous property, just sitting right in Elkhorn, Nebraska. Yeah, I think it's challenging. I think a lot of these Korn Ferry courses and events that they have turn into, birdie barrages where it's just the winner's around 30 under. That doesn't happen. Jim doesn't let that happen. Him and his team, they do a great job to set it up to where it's fair, but it's challenging. And I think players at this level, they appreciate that. And it goes to show just when PGA Championship just happened, how hard that was, what we just witnessed. I think that's what golf fans like to see. They like to see the best struggle, to be honest. Granted that, they still score 15, 18 under at Indian Creek, but you'll hear the players talk year in and year out just how challenging and how good and pure that golf course is.
Yeah. When we were talking to Jim, we mentioned Sam Ryder's 27 under in our inaugural year. He wanted to make sure that never happens again. He put it in a really interesting way that it's really the golf course versus the golfers. And that's the first time I've ever heard that. What does it look like for you guys from the chapter's perspective? Like, we really see Jim, we really see Jessica during that week, but what does it look like for you in the chapter that week?
For us, we love to watch the championship. We love to be a part of it and can support Jessica and her team in any way. But for us that week, it's really about growing the game. Getting youth, getting people of diverse backgrounds that might not have certain opportunities, getting them out on the course, just trying to find a way to develop that love that we have for the game for them. And so usually year in and year out, Tuesday, Wednesday, we host a on the range with Hope Veterans. So PGA Hope is a 6-week program that we do with veterans and active military. It's completely free to them. PGA professionals dedicate their time, volunteer, and then once they, quote unquote, graduate from the program, they get opportunities to stay engaged. And one of those has been for them to just sit on the range. Brandon Crick he's a McCook boy, Nebraska. We love our Brandon Crick, but Kyle Westmoreland, there's been Frankie Sappin, who's on the tour now. And there's been a lot of names that have given their time to spend some time with the veterans on the range. And that's always so cool. They get to see, those players hit shots that we could only dream to hit, and then answer some questions. And they, the veterans, the camaraderie aspect of it and the connection and be able to, Kyle was a former, I think, Army veteran, if I'm not mistaken. For them to go back and forth with him, I think is pretty cool. And on Saturday is my favorite day, selfishly, is we have a PGA Junior League, so it's basically like a team golf aspect for golfers that are more beginning at the ages from 7 to 14. And they get to play in their PGA Junior League Section Championship, which is our biggest event for that program, right on the Red Feather course on Saturday next to the Korn Ferry event. And it's so cool. The kids, they couldn't care less if they make triple bogey that day. They're playing next to the Stars of Tomorrow. And I think they just love it. They dig it. And then after they get done playing their own golf, they get to walk over and watch the championship. And then on that same day, we also do a youth putting contest in the morning that gives a lot of money back to charity. And I think that's just what means the most to us from the section and the foundation, PGA REACH Nebraska, is just seeing their mission align with ours of growing and positively impacting lives through the game of golf.
Yeah, Saturdays, Sunday is always fun because we're watching, that's when you really get focused on golf. But Saturday is probably my favorite day at the Pinnacle Bank Championship because it's just, you have the RSM putting challenge, you have kids everywhere. You've gotten Thursday and Friday under your belt, you're good to go. And Saturday is hey, we know exactly what we're doing. For kids that are in Nebraska that are trying to get into golf, the REACH program is really good for that. Talk to me about the REACH a little bit more and how you're getting youth involved in golf.
Yeah, so PGA REACH Nebraska is a 501c3 foundation under the Nebraska PGA. So essentially it's a foundation ran and organized by our PGA professionals, which is 340 men and women across our section. It's a little confusing. It's not just Nebraska. It covers a little bit of Iowa and just, the southern tip of South Dakota, sorry. But, 11 years ago, we had our board members sit in a room, and they were like, we've got this playing thing down. We've got a lot of events for our members to play in. We got a lot of teaching things happening, a lot of cool things in merchandise. How do we dive into truly growing the game? And that's where, PGA REACH Nebraska started. First program that they ever did was golf in schools. The idea was, where can we hit the kids first? And elementary schools was an easy answer. So basically, PGA professionals would go into a PE class, work with the PE teacher, pretty much teach the teacher how to teach golf for these kids. And then, once those first introductory classes were done, the teachers run with it. And that's been awesome. That's still going on. More than 25,000 kids have been introduced to the game through those elementary PE programs. And then on top of that, one of our biggest arms is our veteran reach. And it's not just veterans, active military, first responders. Like I said, with PGA Hope, there's 12 programs this year. 2019 was our first year. We had one program, 25 veterans. This year we'll graduate 300 veterans, and there's already 800 in our community. So we'll go over 1,000 veterans impacted this year, which is pretty amazing. And then lastly, Clubs for Youth is our newest program. Don't quote me on this, I think it was 2022 it started. But essentially, PGA REACH did a poll with alongside the Nebraska Schools Association, NSAA, to find out, why the girls' numbers were so much lower than the boys' numbers. And we came to realize that I think it was 54% of girls were using either their dad's clubs, grandpa's clubs, broken clubs, wooden clubs. It was just the equipment side was an extreme barrier to getting these girls started. And golf is already so hard. Trying to learn with the wrong equipment, it just makes it near impossible. So we started Clubs for Youth, partnered with Callaway and Sun Mountain. And today we have more than 40 schools that we've donated 5 to 6 sets of right and left-handed golf clubs, brand new Callaway clubs, really nice equipment, Sun Mountain push carts. And then each summer, after they receive their equipment, PGA professionals travel out to whichever school it is and do a week-long golf camp with them. And it's been amazing to see girls golf grow. I think that's probably the space that most growth can happen, is getting more ladies and girls into the game. So yeah, I think PGA REACH is just all about spreading the love for the game and helping people as much as we can. And it's been pretty awesome to watch unfold over the last 11 years.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I've loved golf ever since I was a little kid, and the relationships, like the mastery of the sport, like it's, you can spend your whole life playing and still feel like you're a day one player, but it's really cool that you're getting all these folks involved in golf. So what's your favorite hole on the course, like during tournament week?
I feel like it's an easy answer. Sunday usually I get some time just to watch golf and hang out, and 17's pretty good spot to do that. I also would say, 9 and 18. If you have whether you have a chair or if you just want to bounce back and forth, especially on Sunday when groups are going off both sides, you can see them finish on 9 and 18. Both are really challenging holes. But yeah, I think 17 would have to be my answer there. I don't think that one gets beat.
17's a blast, and we've spent years trying to get it to where it is today. If you were talking to somebody who's never been to the Pinnacle Bank Championship before, maybe understands golf a little bit, but not a ton, like how would you tell them to spend their day at the Pinnacle Bank Championship?
Yeah, whether you're a beginner or if you're advanced in golf, I get the casual side of watching golf, but I would really give yourself a day just to enjoy the true professional side of the golf. I think it's really awesome to watch how good those guys are. And at the same time, there's so many fun things to do around the course. 17 for sure, check that out, like I said. But yeah, I would really just encourage people to enjoy the golf side of things, realize, these players are going to be people that, like Scottie, that you might sit at home on Sundays and watch a major championship golf and be like, hey, I saw that guy get a start in Omaha, Nebraska. And it's like a real thing. It is truly starting here in Omaha, Nebraska. So I think that's the cool side for us is selfishly, we're pretty blessed to have that opportunity to watch players at that level.
Yeah. So we're on our 10th year. It's coming up here just, a couple months away. What are you most excited about for our 10th year Pinnacle Bank Championship?
I think this year is unique in itself, just with how the club at Indian Creek has done a amazing renovation with their facilities, and just, I think that shows how, what would be the word? It shows how far the tournament's come, and really it's led to Club Indian Creek trying to go to the next level. But, I think I'm just excited again to watch new players come. And for me, players that I can learn too. It's a field where you're not going to know everyone in it, but that's kind of the fun part, is looking up their stories, looking up, where they're at in the points list. What do they need this week to get to playoffs and essentially get their tour card? I think that's what I look forward to every year.
Excellent. Well, we're excited for our 10th year together. We can't wait to see you out on the course. Thank you for joining us for the Pinnacle Bank Championship podcast. You can go to thepinnaclebankchampionship.com for tickets, sponsorships, volunteer opportunities, and learn more about the tournament. Brett, thank you so much for having us. You rule. We appreciate you joining us.
Thanks so much for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks, man.